Alright guys, I don't know about you, but one of my favorite shows right now is The Bear. However, the last episode has left me so disappointed. The only way I can make myself feel better is to make my own beef sandwich. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen.
Cheers, my brother.
Cheers.
It's so tender. It's like butter.
Alright guys, first things first, let's talk about the beef that we're using for our beef sandwich. And today we're using a chuck roast. This is about a 3.5, 4-pound chuck roast. Nice and even. I like to go ahead and portion this out. We're going to go ahead and basically cut it into bite-sized chunks. Probably a little bigger than bite-size actually, but we're going to go ahead and cut these into chunks. That way they cook a little bit more evenly and we can get a good sear on all sides. This is my favorite cut to use for something like shredded beef. You can use this, for barbecue beef, barbacoa, a million different applications really. It's great for pot roast, as we all know. But today we're using it for our beef sandwich. Now, full disclosure, this is not a traditional Chicago-style beef. So before the folks in Chicago get mad at me in the comments, I realize this is not the authentic way to do it. But this is how I like to do it. So if you want to try this recipe, definitely encourage you to do so. You can keep it traditional by leaving out some of the other ingredients. This is almost like a play on a Mississippi pot roast and a Chicago beef. If they had like a little love child, that's what we would have right here. Super delicious, packed with flavor. Definitely encourage you guys to give it a try. So first things first, we're going down with a good application of salt. And that's because my all-purpose seasoning is low sodium. And for this amount of beef, you got 3 pounds of beef here. You want to go ahead and season it generously. Make sure you get some good flavor in there. So AP seasoning, a little additional salt, and then we'll have a couple other flavors that we're going to add to the party once it gets in the pressure cooker. Just get in there with your hands and just make sure that it's all coated. Try to get up all the seasoning off the cutting board if you can. And then we're going to sear this, get a great crust on it, pop it in the pressure cooker, 55 minutes. Next up, we're going to go ahead and prep the veggies. For that, we have some peppers and onions. I'm also going to add some banana peppers to the party. Like I said earlier, kind of like a play on Mississippi pot roast and a Chicago beef. The flavor from the banana peppers is just so unique when it comes to that pot roast recipe. And it really adds some great flavor to your sandwich as well. So you can serve this a bunch of different ways. You can make tacos out of this. You can make low carb wraps for like meal prep if you're trying to stay on the healthy side. Added lettuce wraps if you're trying to be extra healthy. But today we're going to wrap it in some hoagie rolls with some cheese, the way the good Lord intended. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and chop these up. I'm not doing a fine dice on these because I want to be able to see them in the sandwich. They're going to break down quite a bit in the pressure cooker anyway, so no need to be but so accurate in your measurements here on the chopping. Just give them a rough chop. Same thing for the green peppers and the onions. All right, so we got our peppers, we got our onions. We're going to go ahead and just chop this garlic right there. Take about a quarter of it off right there and expose some of the garlic. This is basically going to roast in the pressure cooker, create roasted garlic that we're going to use to flavor our beef. All right, guys, now for one of the more important parts when it comes to braising or pressure cooking any meat. You want to sear it, get a nice, beautiful crust. It's going to add flavor, texture, and color to your end product. For that, we have my skillet that's going to be restocking in about 3 weeks. So look out for that if you haven't grabbed one yet. We're going to warm that over medium-high heat. Add a little avocado oil. Once the pan gets hot, we're going to sear our beef. Add it right to the pressure cooker with all those vegetables. We're going to add herbs, beef broth, tons of flavor. So obviously what you're looking for is a beautiful, even, golden brown sear like you see right here. Flip it over, show the other side some love. All right, so next we're going to turn the heat off and melt a little butter, about a half a stick. For that, we're going to add a good teaspoon of Better Than Bouillon beef base, along with some low sodium beef broth. Now, some of you may ask why we're using beef base and beef broth. And honestly, it's because a lot of the store-bought beef broth just doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. So we're going to beef up the beef flavor a bit with the Better Than Bouillon product. Going in with a good 2 to 3 cups of beef broth. And the reason why I'm doing this in the same skillet is because I want to get up all that flavor off the bottom of the skillet from searing the beef. No flavor left behind as usual. Just going to get that going. And then just get all that flavor off the bottom of the skillet. Allow that butter to melt. Pour that in there. That's going to be the braising liquid. Set the pressure cooker to high. And then after about 55 minutes, you're going to have some beautifully tender beef that we're going to shred and make a sandwich with. We're also going to add in some rosemary and thyme, little fresh herbs, the kind you cook with, not the kind that cook you. Save that for your pregame meal. Oh, in goes the thyme. All right, a few more flavor enhancers. Now, if you've ever made the Mississippi pot roast, you know that ranch seasoning is one of the key components, adds a lot of great flavor. It also has a little MSG in it, and that's kind of where the great flavor comes from. For those of you guys that don't know, we're to go ahead and add a good 2 teaspoons of that in there, along with a 1/4 cup of banana peppers. It's gonna leave a little bit of juice in there too, because why the hell not? Tablespoon of worst word in the world sauce, little umami effect, and then our liquid that we just made with the beef broth, the beef base, and the butter. This, my friends, is gonna be delicious. Guaranteed. And now it's time to pressure cook. If you don't have a pressure cooker, you could do this in a crock pot, 6 to 8 hours. You'd also do it in the oven at about 325 for about 4 hours or so, or until the beef is fork tender and shreds apart. All right, guys, so once our beef is falling apart tender, we're gonna go ahead and set that off to the side, allow it to cool just a little bit so we can safely handle it. Meanwhile, we're gonna go ahead and toast our hoagie rolls in a 350-degree oven. Just a few minutes until they get a little bit crispy on the outside, but still nice and soft on the inside. And then we're gonna make our sauce, and then it's time to make a sandwich. All right, guys, so for the sauce, super simple. 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce, whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. I really like Blues Hog. They're not a sponsor. They're my favorite until my own barbecue sauce comes out in a couple months. Give that a mix to combine. If you've never paired mayo with barbecue sauce, you might look at me crazy, but I swear that it's delicious. It's good on French fries, burgers, and this shredded beef sandwich. All right, guys, I'm gonna take this sauce, add that down in there first. Don't be shy with the good stuff. Then we're going to take our beef with the added banana peppers. So make sure we get some of them bell peppers in there too. And there you have it, folks. If a Chicago beef and a Mississippi pot roast had a child, this would be it. A little AP seasoning right over the top. And this is the part where I say, brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is digging for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys. Typically, I would roll this up in some butcher paper and let it steam a little bit like they do at the store. But it's going to kind of mess up my presentation for the thumbnail. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut this bad boy into thirds. That way my 2 cameramen are pleasantly surprised and happy they get to eat some of this. I don't know who's getting that middle piece, but I'm going for the end piece myself. Can't forget the sauce. Oh man, that looks good. A little extra drizzle. Cheers.